Hey traders, Raghi here, and I want to record a quick 5-minute midday update to take you guys through where I am and where we are on the YM, the ES, and the NQ. So I sent out an alert earlier, and it was basically emphasizing that the pullback buy, and I included some Fibo or Fibonacci levels also on the charts, as you can see here, that the pullback buy would make the most sense for the ES and the YM. And I left the NQ alone. I only talked about the ES and YM. Those are the two charts that I included on that alert. And I mentioned the clearing ripped higher. That means we rallied very sharply right on the bell. And while we did not exceed the hourly price movement range, the allowable hourly price movement range, my hesitancy was when we put in that quick a range, the market might not have enough oomph to take us through, enough momentum, enough strength to take us higher through resistance. That's why the pullback buy makes a lot more sense, because when we pull back to the areas that I talked about in the alert, then this level where we're flirting with right now at about 10 minutes to 11 Eastern, that level can become a target. All right. Now, if you're in the chat room, obviously this conversation is taking place also in the chat text, so it's much easier on these short-term 5-minute trades to kind of keep up. But I don't want to leave those of you that are not available for these hours in the chat room. I don't want to leave you all in the dust, so I wanted to do a quick update here. Now, remember, it's 10:50, which means at 10:30, that clearing range breakdown is no longer valid. So whatever happens after 10:30 with this upper line doesn't matter. In fact, now, 10 minutes to 11, what we're focusing on now are possible rejections from the highs here and some kind of correction. Now, notice again, I left the Fibonacci levels out there. I'll probably redraw these, although I think by and large, they're still mostly intact on the Dow most specifically. But this is where you can start to say also to yourself, what is my clarity? What is the clarity criteria here on the Dow? It's still up. I've got the green grab, so that's one of two things. I don't have sufficient propulsion dots. On the YM, what's the narrative here? Well, I have not only consistent green grab, but I have the criteria of at least 5 propulsion dots. And these are the 821 settings, meaning the dots that are laying over this chart represent where the 21 exponential moving average would be. And I do want to mention to everybody, if you're using these dots, just a quick heads up, I do not use the buy and sell. Those are a single dot that will appear like an alert. I do not use these. Instead, I use the buy stop and the sell stop. That's what plots where the EMAs would be. On TradeStation, I just make them transparent. And on Thinkorswim, there's a section in which you can uncheck plot dot or plot. You don't want to plot it. So again, the bull and bear, uninterested. Buy and sell, uninterested. I'm looking specifically at the buy stop and sell stop. That's what plots the EMA. So am I looking for higher highs here? Absolutely. One of the things that I mentioned in the morning chat was the resiliency of Apple and of Facebook. And I think it's also worth mentioning, we have Walmart tomorrow before the market open. And even though Home Depot is still rather heavy, it's not making a lower low than yesterday. And I do believe it's going to be bought on pullbacks. In fact, if we were to pull back to the 21 EMA on this chart, I'd probably buy it. So I don't really find that Home Depot is the only or sole reason why I should be bearish on the Dow. I think that we're probably going to see a little bit of struggle. We might grind higher as we have today, but realize that during the clearing, I mentioned 2 main things. One, I would not be surprised if we ripped higher. On the bell, that's exactly what we did. Number 2, I said I'm going to wait till after the clearing to do anything, which is why I waited till after the clearing around 10 a.m. to send out any alerts. And I am indeed long. So in this case, you'll notice I used some Fibonacci levels. I don't always do this, but just kind of a background, I've been drawing Fibonacci levels since my teens. I'm a fan, but I don't think they always apply. It depends upon the previous move for me as to whether or not I want to use Fibonacci to project support and resistance. And then I'm also using it alongside my wave and grab. Fibonacci for me is very powerful when we make a trend, if we have a last major move that's up or down, in order to understand the retracement. So that was part of today's analysis too. All right, hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next update.